We now come to the last part, well, not the last part, but perhaps the most critical part of the summit. We are now going to hear and perhaps be actively engaged in the presentation and adoption of the Kuala Lumpur Call to Action on Planetary Health. In order to do so, it gives me great privilege to call upon our co-chairs, Tan Sri Jamila Mahmud, Executive Director of the Sunway Center for Planetary Health, to come up on the stage. Is she here? Yes. Okay. Joining Tan Sri Jamila, could we have Dr. Marie Studer? Now we're keeping the end very fluid. I believe I'll hand over the session for the moment to Tan Sri Jamila and Marie, and then I think we will hear from the rest. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello.
When would you like to invite the young people?
Maybe later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you say you start or I start? You start right here.
Okay. Hello, everyone, dear friends. Really, I can't believe we're coming to the end. I was wondering when it would end. So we're very happy that all the year's work has concluded in what I think has been a really interesting few days. I just want to say, first of all, this would not have been successful without participants. And, personally, I was just in awe that on the fourth day, we still have quite a full room. So thank you for staying on. And I am a Malaysian. I am also half Malay. And in our culture, we always apologize. We always say, sorry for any shortcomings. We did try our best, but as you know, nothing is perfect. But please, on behalf of my organizing team here and the partners, I just want to say that we hope you had a wonderful FAM 2024, and and it certainly has been a real privilege and a real honor and pleasure to be the host. I have to do a few thanks before get that out of the way, right? Because it's so important and I get emotional usually, so I better do it while I'm not emotional. And that we wouldn't have been able to do this, not just without my great team, but also the university standing right behind us. And there are a few people that I really need to acknowledge. Prof. Sibrans, you allow my what I really respect and like about you is you allow my madness to prevail, and you allow the creativity, and all the senior leadership has just tolerated us saying we need to do this and do that, really breaking some of the boundaries of what we want to do. The entire senior management of Sunway Education Group and Sunway as well. Of course, Planetary Health Alliance for guiding us and making sure that we don't stray too far. We wouldn't be able to do this without donors and sponsors, and there have been many, and they've been on the screen, but they have been very, very gracious in allowing us to bring not only organizing this, but bringing many people from particularly low middle income countries in the region and beyond. And I think this is the only way we managed to get 63 countries here. So thank you very much. I'd really also like to thank our media partners who have been consistently, persistently with us the past few days. Astro Awani as our official media partner and others who have stayed as well. While we have been deliberating, we have two lovely young women in the corner there who many probably don't even notice, but they have been sketching and capturing every plenary. And I think not all of you saw the images, but TJ, while I'm talking, can you just keep showing the images that you showed before lunch, because many people had left? Yeah. And these will all be on the FAM website, which will migrate to the Planetary Health Alliance website as well, so that it will continue to live on. They are still sketching away, so some of them will appear maybe tomorrow or day after, depending when they finish. No pressure. I've been telling them they're doing a fantastic job, right? And of course, I just want to say that last but not least, young students are among us as volunteers, the staff at Sunway who have been put aside their work to be with us, Beng Lian, who has been incredible, guiding us with how to maneuver the Sunway kind of ecosystem. Thank you, Beng Lian. I have a sore throat. Yeah, sorry. And thank you, Beng Lian, and facilities and everyone else. Thank you also to the students. As I mentioned, they are on a break. They had to forsake their holiday to be with us. So to the student volunteers, can you please stand up? They're all the back. I know you've not only been running around ushering people, but you've been listening, and I really hope this has impacted you, because you will be the leaders that will take this forward, so thank you. There are many people behind the scenes, people at the Global Collaboration Village on the 9th floor, and some of you have had the experience of the metaverse and the climate tipping points. Believe me, it was no easy feat to get the World Economic Forum to give this to us pro bono. It's a way for us to also look at artificial intelligence and technology. So huge thanks to the World Economic Forum. I also want to thank, the people you don't see, the people who've been cooking, cleaning, who have been staying on till very, very late, including the technical team. The security guards who have been taking care of us, but also the students who are not volunteering, but who have to take the stairs because we need to use the lift. So thank you to them as well. And I would like my team to stand. And this is where I get emotional. Oliver and I go a very long way, and if you ask him how we met, he will give you a very complicated story. We knew each other virtually before we finally met under a mango tree in Banda Aceh in the middle of a tsunami, after a tsunami. But Oliver has not just been the pen of the Planetary Health roadmap, which is a lot of work, and action plan, but really the one who keeps me in check. I have an idea every 6 hours. So you can imagine he keeps the manic side of me under control. I want to, Fatima and Elil, please stand. Don't stop. Thank you. Fatima and Elil are co-chairs of the program committee, who have had to deal with a lot of stress trying to put together, again, the madness that I wanted. but getting the speakers, getting the abstracts, getting the submissions, making sure that everything is on time, and and behind them is a program committee please stand up, program committee members. Thank you. Now, the one staff who I will chain to the office and never let her leave is Nazia. Nazia is the planning head, which means she makes sure you get your tickets together with her team. The transport's on time, the food is ready, the room is ready, everything is ready, and she has not slept. So Nazia, you and your team, thank you very much, right? And there is Hazira. Hazira is our communications lead. She's had to deal with everything from media to very angry sponsors and everything else. She's had to run the launch of the cookbook without me appearing, so she had to just completely take over and did a fantastic job. When I wanted to do the planet-saving meals, another of my smart ideas, Hazira kind of like, okay, I'll support you. But behind that, the School of Hospitality Management and Culinary, I always get it wrong, the name. Anyway, Chef Soon and Chef Eddie and everybody else. And poor Chef Soon had to get his daughter to do the illustrations for us. And this book is not ready, definitely. It's only got, I think, 40 recipes, am I right, Hazira? 31? Yeah, so we want 60 before we publish. So to every one of you, you have a responsibility to send us a planet-saving meal recipe so that we can add it on. And hopefully when we get more, we'll publish it as a book that you can all have at some point. So thank you, Hazira, Hamiza, I think Arsalan and others working with you. I want Purwa to stand up. Purwa, are you here? He's not here?
No, over there.
No, that's Hamiza. Well, Purwa, I have not seen. I don't know what he looks like. But he has been the one, together with Chani from PDC, creating these illustrations. And just to tell you that when this was originally drawn, it was North America. And I said, turn the globe. It has to show Asia and Malaysia. And Purwa did that in 2 hours, am I right, Oliver? And sometimes we send him 400 edits, and then he sends a response at 5 a.m., which means he doesn't sleep. So thank you, Purwa. And all the others, who we've contracted to help us with this hall, Moonman, and others, Daniel for, lending us Izaz to play saxophone on day one and his band. Thank you. Now, there are many other staff, not that many, but there are other staff in my team. I want to single out the entire knowledge learning team. Stand up. Come on. They may not still be up. And they have been the ones doing the quiet work, going through every abstract, making sure the posters are ready, and so on and so forth. So thank you for that. Yen Yi, stay standing up. Yen Yi injured herself and couldn't go with you, but she and Nurul, where are you? Were the ones who were responsible for making sure you could go to the jungle school and to University Malaya. There's a very quiet and hardworking person who you don't see. Uni, where are you? Uni has to deal with every bit of bureaucracy. And she always tells me, I love doing claims, something that we hate doing, but she likes this hard work. And I hope I'm not missing people. TJ, stand up. TJ is the MacGyver in our team. Even when we can't reach the screen, we say TJ as though we can't do it, right? But TJ is always there for us. He has to troubleshoot everything. He's here making sure the technical stuff get on time, making sure that everything runs well, both here and the other side as well. So thank you, TJ. I see you. And also, in my head, I'm going through all the lists in my head now. I know that I have not named one person who is very dear to me. My Sarah, stand up. Where is my Sarah? Is she hiding as usual?
Oh, she's right here. She's right
Okay. My Sarah has seen me through the worst of times. When I was advisor to the Prime Minister on pandemic, she was my special officer, and she remains my special officer, but she has a brain and a half. So please congratulate her as a head of policy now. And then there are others who are our adjunct professors I need to acknowledge. Dr. Anis, please stand up. Dr. Ameh and Tan Sri Zaki, who have met. They've just stepped up on the plate, really helping, filling up, whenever we need help. So thank you for helping us as well. And of course, I hope I haven't missed many people up. There's also an advisory, international advisory committee. Dr. Maria Govera is here representing them. We have Tan Sri Zakri, Ben Ramalingam from London, and Pablo, who you met on the AI stuff. Thank you to the cartoonists, Ham and Eugenia, for, I don't have the talent they have, but how they can turn things into humor. And this was a risk we took to try something new, because sometimes difficult conversations can be made easier with humor. And thank you, Ham and Eugenia, for flying all the way from Argentina to be with us. And just for everyone to know that they weren't only here with us now. We had 2 sessions virtually before we got to this date. So it's really amazing. And Jano, of course, for curating that. So I think I've thanked everyone, but if I've missed anyone, it's my brain. And I just want to say we are very, very grateful for everything. And, really, really happy that it's ending. So, so I'm not coming to work on Monday, Prof. I'm sleeping. So thank you. Now, can we go to the next slide, please? So you see all these things, you'll find them on the website, right? Or every session that has been going on. Now, the next slide.
Can I just say one thing? Besides, thank you. I asked a few young people to come up. So you're not waiting on edge. We're going to invite you up to the stage after this session. So
Okay.
just take a breath and relax.
Yeah. Now, you will see here 2 QR codes. I would like you to ensure that you please scan them, because you need to have these documents with you. You need to read them. Next week, we'll send a test to see if you actually get them, a sort of timed exam. But you have all contributed to this. More than 100 people have contributed to the roadmap. And our job was really to capture everything. We decided not to print many, to being planetary health conscious. There was a question in one of the sessions earlier about what is our carbon footprint. And we do intend to figure out how to do this. We'll probably talk to people who are smart to help us to do this. Because, we really did. As I mentioned, when we started organizing it, we thought at the most we'll get 400 people. We were so nervous. We said, will we get 400 people? And then, we had planned to do everything on the other side. And then towards the end, Nazia comes to me and she said, it's hitting 700 face-to-face, and of course, panicked a week ago and then decided to move the venue here. So thank you again. Now, these two documents are seminal because they will actually be important because the summit ends today, but the real work begins on Monday. I'm giving you a weekend off. So you know, it's really, really important that we do that. And before I go further, of course, I've stepped one more slide just to recognize. These are the leads of the different working groups. Governance, Dato' Anis, our adjunct prof from University of Malaya, Matthew, our Fulbright scholar, who has been just phenomenal, Yelena from the Planetary Health Alliance, Teddy and Dr. Tun have been really, this is the work stream, like you don't need to tell them what to do, you just get on with it, right? And doing the education work stream. Daniel, thanks for stepping up and helping us. Bruce, who will join us virtually later. And of course, Margie, where's Margie? Who is the ESG guru in Malaysia, who also supported us through the business discussions. Of course, Oliver needs nobody else because he's Oliver. Pardon? Yes. And I would love all these leads to please come up, the leads of the governance. So, Marie, over to you.
So wonderful. So 2024 annual meeting is largely built upon the São Paulo Declaration, which was created in 2021. The São Paulo Declaration outlines the urgent need for deep structural changes in how we live to protect human health, well-being, and all life on Earth. The São Paulo Declaration, also known as the SPD, was endorsed by more than 300 signatories from over 48 countries and published in The Lancet. And it emphasizes the need for a rapid shift in how we live and how we produce and consume food, how we produce and consume our energy and our manufactured goods. And it insists on healing our relationship with nature and with each other. It was drafted during the 2021 annual meeting, which was held at the University of São Paulo, although it was virtual since we were in the middle of COVID. But that annual meeting concluded with the global consultation of nearly 350 participants from more than 70 countries to produce this declaration. This declaration outlines actions and guidelines for across 19 sectors of society, and it's inspired the development of today's roadmap and underpinned the preparations for this 2024 Planetary Health Summit and Annual Meeting with the theme of evidence to action, confronting reality.
Next slide. The Kuala Lumpur Call to Action, which we would like to adopt before we leave today, hopefully by acclamation, builds on the São Paulo Declaration that Marie has just shared. And the logic is simple. We don't need another declaration. We need to take the fantastic São Paulo Declaration and then take the next step. And this is what the call to action is about and the roadmap that we are aiming to ensure that we can actually deliver on.
Next slide, please. And lest you think that we sort of just dreamed these things up ourselves, I want to ensure you know that actually incredible amount of work, brain power, commitment, and passion went into this from around the world. We had a steering committee to provide strategic oversight, a seniors committee to understand and oversee and suggest an overall process for this work. And then we had program committees and planning committees and fundraising committees. And then of course we had this incredible group of 4 working groups who you see many of the leads up here today. And then in addition to that, and in addition to that consultation, which included between 60 and 100 people in the working groups, there's a LinkedIn group with more than 429 members, and those people also gave input to the call to action and the roadmap.
Next slide. So FAM 2024 was really designed to build on the insights and discussions from FAM 2022 at Boston. and prior FAMs, of course, towards action, louder and more strategic advocacy, and driving community-led change. FAM 2022 aptly addressed this in growing the movement to include more Indigenous voices, youth leaders, and diverse global perspectives. So what's next? Well, change begins with us, the Planetary Health community and the new friends we've made. Each of us must embody the ethics and values of Planetary Health. Our sense, Planetary Health Alliance, Sunway, and a bunch of you around the planet, was that a roadmap would be useful, charting out some of the key issues and working up an action plan. One that will identify or has identified the key enabling areas for systemic change, and that is rooted in integrated solutions, coordinated actions, and global collaboration.
Next slide, please. So the key roadmap areas are governance, education, and engaging with business, along with a good communications plan that transcends or is transversal across all of these areas. These areas emerged as most likely to generate both bottom-up and top-down engagement, as well as cover political, policy, community, and personal levels. I think just click, maybe? Yeah. Oh, maybe not. So good governance, I think we could go back one, please. Good governance ensures that the integration of environmental, social, and economic considerations into policies, regulations, and facilitating sustainable development and protecting planetary health. But as we know, global governance is fragmented, and the governance structures of its constituent parts are poorly harmonized and highly siloed. We need to accelerate our interactions with global governance agendas and processes, so we'll be investigating that a bit more. Education. Educational spaces are uniquely positioned to contribute to not only a healthier future, but also one in which we can all thrive. Planetary health needs to be incorporated into education for all. The Planetary Health Education Framework and the São Paulo Declaration on Planetary Health are foundational documents in planetary health education. You'll hear more about that. Engaging with business. That needs to be recognized that planetary health itself originated from and is still largely composed of academics and scientists. But action happens outside of the academic spaces. The changes we must all be part of are one way. There's no going back. We cannot do this without businesses of all sizes, and they must be part of the solution. Many businesses today want to do the right thing, but tell us they suffer from climate change, fatigue, and confusion. And so we need to reach out and help. All of this needs to be underpinned by effective communications, as we heard clearly in the session before lunch. It's clear that we have enough scientific evidence and there's no option other than transition. And so now we need to act. Take action, move to doing, whatever you want to call it. And that's why the FAM 2024 theme is evidence to action, confronting reality. But how do we do that? How do we do planetary health? That's how we landed on these three focal areas: governance, education, business and communications with the cross theme of the driver of change. So now the Planetary Health Roadmap. We hope all of you have had a chance to look at it, maybe read it in detail, or at least skim it. And it's been a long process, but one that we are grateful to have the support of so many contributing people during our public consultation process in February through the LinkedIn group that was specifically set up to facilitate this. But really, I want to say that this work started last August, when the working groups had regular consultations virtually, starting with landscape mapping and followed up with theme-specific narratives designed to help us. Planetary healthers, whether academic or not, understand the issues and to be in a position to help others with these issues. So each working group has tailored the approach to better fit their respective landscape and contribute to the roadmap and action plan.
So we will hear shortly from the conveners of each of the groups now on how the work that they have done can inform a forward path for all of us. So first, we will hear from Oliver, leading the communications work stream, and then Teddy and Yelena on the education work stream, Anis and Matthew on governance, and Daniel, Bruce, and Margie on the business side. But before we get there, just to share with you the slide here, there are 6 proposed actions: measuring planetary health, communicating planetary health, achieving educating to achieve the great transition, building holistic governance, balancing business and planetary health, mainstreaming planetary health. So, Marie. So the next slide. Here we go. Now, with the help of the Pacific Disaster Center, we have decided that we need to do a planetary health assessment in 2024. There are a few steps that we will take to do this, and this we feel is the first step in the action plan. If you look at the document, you'll see the sort of road. Because it's very hard to take action if you don't know where we're starting from. So this starting point for us is very important. And what we would like to do, our ambition is to make sure that this is an annual assessment, pending, the capacity that we will have. We're very happy to share with you, the one-pager. We're also later you will see that we'll be calling for people to be action partners, those who are, really good at data and health. So, we will move this forward. So what we will do is really take, the data streams that are available and look at what new insights that might be present, really looking at the intersections as shown in the slide, and then how then does that translate to the planetary health action.
Yeah, and so out of the six actions that you saw before in the 6 working groups, there was one on the other side, on the right-hand side of the stream called mainstreaming planetary health. And before we open it up to the working groups, just want to mention that the Planetary Health Alliance will be taking charge of the mainstreaming piece. It's something that we do already. We convene the global community. We have various consultations with our regional hub, with our campus ambassador program, our partners and members from time to time, and we are regularly in contact with them through social media, our monthly newsletter, and otherwise. So our goal and our commitment is to take the work that's coming out of the next action groups and the working plan and to communicate that to the global community. And now, I would like to invite Oliver.
Thanks. Sorry, thanks very much indeed. The rain is 10 minutes early, but it's just started to rain outside. So I'll be relatively brief. First of all, let me express huge appreciation to members of the communications working group who are in this room today. People on this side of the planet generally were meeting late in the evening. People on the other side of the planet were meeting very early in the morning, and the people in Europe were lucky because we met during their working hours. But thank you very much indeed to everyone who was involved in that process. We basically looked at the role of communications in planetary health, trying to understand that, and also that, landing that it was really quite central, and I'll come on to that in a bit more detail in a minute. We looked at what's already going on, and there's a lot. There's a lot of focus on climate change and various other sort of crisis-related aspects that we think we can link up with, harness, work together with. And that's included in an annex to the document which you can find on the Planetary Health Alliance website. We tried to work out a little bit who's involved at this stage and come up with a few of the stakeholder groups that were articulated in the Sao Paulo Declaration. And then we tried to lay out for the various stakeholder groups some pointers that we could all use on planetary health communications. We looked at that through a kind of engaging with policymakers, engaging with politicians, civil society, and individual levels. And that's all included in the roadmap document. Our findings as we went through that process were the ones that are articulated on the next slide, please. TJ, thank you. that planetary health communications is cross-cutting, as we saw in that diagram. It cuts across the other three areas that the roadmap looks at: governance, education, and business. It's kind of everything everywhere all at once, but we need to be very structured and organized about how we think about that, while recognizing that we need to hit all levels. We are not maximizing right now the use of technology for good, and we need to get a lot more savvy about doing that. Our messaging is complicated. We talked that, I think Shweta said this morning, can you describe planetary health in 30 seconds? Hands up if you can describe planetary health in 30 seconds. So we really need to simplify what is quite a complicated and complex message to distill, but we need to be able to do that. A very heavy focus from the group on the need to recognize and remember the importance of context, of culture, of local ways of living, communicating, engaging, and accepting at the same time that we live in challenging times when it comes to communications. This kind of ubiquity of communications tools means that everybody has a voice, that both social and traditional media have become a great deal more sort of stovepiped and difficult to engage with, but we need to find ways to do that. The importance of building art and music into our communications, and adapting messaging and means of communicating to the audience. So those were our kind of very broad, very broad findings. Next slide, please. And we tried to take away from that, well, what can we actually try to do? And we came up with 5 specific things that the forward plan we hope will include. And those are, number 1, a stakeholder mapping. Trying to understand, who are the most important stakeholders from the Sao Paulo Declaration stakeholder groups, who are our high value targets and entities, people and stakeholders that we should be targeting. Secondly, given the fact that Malaysia is developing a national planetary health action plan, and that there is a communications and behavior change group working on the communication strategy and behavior change strategy for that action plan, we are going to focus some of our attention on supporting the development of that plan. And we hope then being able to take that to other countries in the region through a re-energized Planetary Health Alliance regional hub. We had a really good discussion at lunch about this. And then hopefully bringing it to the global level. So doing a country level test and seeing if we can amplify that out. We also think there will be value in putting together a report on harnessing data and technology for planetary health communications, kind of non-academic, focusing on data and tech partners particularly, but perhaps going a little bit broader than that. And we would like to expand what we did on Monday this week, which was to train 28 journalists from across the region on planetary health, climate change and communications. And we think that certainly the feedback that we got from that was that it was very useful and very helpful to the journalist community. We'd like to be able to expand that. And finally, we will report back, we commit to report back as a group at PHAM 2025, wherever and whenever that may be taking place. That was it. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Now we'll hand this over to Education Working Group.
Well, it's been a very rich and full week together. Let's pause and take a deep breath. Whether you're joining us virtually or you're present in this room, I want you to take a moment to focus on your breathing. Pay attention to your own breathing and the breathing of those around you. You have been doing this simple act of inhaling and exhaling since the day you were born, and it will continue until the very last day you exist on this beautiful planet. Similarly, you have been learning since the day you were born, and when you stop learning, it will be your last day. All life on this planet is hardwired to learn. Therefore, education is one of our greatest strategies to bring about the great transition. Elena will now share your roadmap for actualizing planetary health education.
Thank you. Thank you, Teddy, for being an inspiration and reminding us all why we care about education so deeply. Before we move on to discuss our ambitious and actionable next steps for effecting change in education, I would like to share some key findings from the education work group. Next slide, please. We, the Education Working Group, recognize the Planetary Health Education Framework and the Sao Paulo Declaration on Planetary Health to be foundational documents in planetary health education. However, we also recognize that at present and currently there is no global strategy or roadmap to apply their content to all educational spaces. In crafting a pathway for the global incorporation of these documents and the values enshrined in them, because we should never forget about planetary health values, we began our drawing process with the shared destination that is laid out for us in the Sao Paulo Declaration. From there, we focused on the barriers, mapped all the barriers, we delved into associated challenges and proposed transformative changes to clear the path to the destination. We also recognize the 5 domains of the education framework for planetary health to be our shared language that unites us as we strive for the great transition. When we initially embarked on this process of drafting the roadmap, we made a collective decision very early on not to focus only on higher education, but to be inclusive and to encompass all educational spaces. This includes early education, childhood education, higher education, and lifelong learning. Furthermore, we agree that we recognize planetary health as foundational knowledge, essential to everyone, foundational knowledge that is transcending traditional disciplinary boundaries. Next slide, please. In developing these 4 actionable and ambitious steps, we aimed for true inclusivity. We crafted key steps to apply to everyone: educators, students, lifelong learners, policymakers, and more. We aim to meet you wherever you are in this journey. We are confident that everyone will find aspects that are relevant to them and changes to which they can contribute. The roadmap outlines our strategy for planetary health education. Now, let's see what we can do together. Here are the steps we have outlined. The first step is universal, inclusive, and value-centered planetary health curriculum. Use the principles that are laid out already in the Planetary Health Education Framework, in the Sao Paulo Declaration, and in this roadmap that we put together. Use those principles and then integrate and create and integrate comprehensive, lifelong curriculum. Always emphasize planetary health literacy and create opportunities for everyone to participate in this change. Make sure that no community is left behind. Community and empowerment. Aim to strengthen community engagement and representation in all that you do. Elevate the knowledge of indigenous peoples and traditional wisdoms. Empower the youth, empower women and girls, and always remember to showcase the evidence that empowerment of girls and women through universal education and gender equity is contributing to planetary health issues and to the socioeconomic development. And the next step is educator, accreditor, and decision-maker engagement. Work with accreditation bodies to incorporate planetary health into all disciplines. And one practical note here, don't forget to be aware of the curriculum revision calendars and accreditation calendars. Equip educators with innovative nature-based teaching methods. Join us, the working group, into recognizing planetary health education as foundational knowledge across disciplines and across age groups. educate policymakers on planetary health, share our values, share our worldview, and partner with them in advancing planetary health education. And our fourth step is global transformation through education. Acknowledge the global nature of planetary health movement and acknowledge the need for diverse voices, diverse lived experience and backgrounds to be heard. Cultivate respect for diversity and inclusivity, and cultivate embracing transdisciplinarity and planetary health consciousness as a way of being. We, the Education Working Group, have set out on this path, and now we invite you, the global planetary health community, to join us. And finally, I would just like to say a few words of appreciation and for dedication of our amazing working group. 21 people across 5 world regions and 15 countries worked on the education roadmap from starting in August 2023 till February 2024. And in this, co-leading this working group with Teddy and Sun Yu Mei has been an amazing pleasure and an incredible honor for me. Thank you.
And next, please, Anis and Matthew.
Thanks, thank you, Ben. Hello, friends. Peace be upon all of you. Before I ask Matthew to present the roadmap for governance, let me first take the opportunity to thank the 26 members of the working group who worked very hard and gave us a lot of input. We bear in mind that we started late. I was given this task only in February. And of course, Matthew came and joined, and this young man next to me is the one who did a lot of work, sent me drafts at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's a lot of Matthew in this, but we're glad that we pulled together and able to give a good draft. And I hope that you can continue. This is a conversation that we like to continue. It doesn't end here, but some action from the governance component I think is key. Is important. We are very pragmatic in the approach that we are mapping. We need something to be done, like what Tasim Jamila said. We give you this weekend, but Monday is when the real work is going to start. So over to you, Matthew.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing okay. Thank you, Dr. Anis, for that introduction. I first just also want to thank the governance working group. I mean, this is something where we had people all across the world doing consultation after consultation after consultation, people from the governance section, people from the planetary health world, to bring this together to a document that I think we are really, really proud of and really, really excited to move forward. I was thinking last night about how I really wanted to encapsulate the work that we did in the working group. And there's a big international law conference that happens in New York every year, and the 2024 theme is Powerless Law or Law for the Powerless. I see this draft as empowered law for the powerful, and I think that's important to keep in mind as we move this forward. We really wanted to target the question of what is global governance. We talk a lot in this space when we say policy, law, governance. We use these terms very interchangeably, but what are their definitions? What do they mean? And how can planetary health inform them? So through our findings, we came up with these 4 action items. The first is actually knowing the terrain. We really started with what do we know in the planetary health community and what don't we? How do we continue to grow and see what is in this massive convoluted world of global governance and how we fit into it? In that regard, looking at grassroots movements and grassroots building, one of the action items we saw is actually pushing for national ratification of international treaties. If we want to engage in the global governance space and empower the global governance space, we have to make sure countries are abiding. We have to make sure that these are documents that actually have power and significance and can move implementation forward. Third, encouraging engagement with and from our international organizations, breathing life into these IGOs and believing in them and the power and the energy that they have to move a lot of this work forward. And finally, network, network, network. There are a lot of people in this room, there is a lot of people in the planetary health community, and we have power in our numbers. We have to realize that, we have to move that forward, and we have to ensure that anyone and everyone is engaging in this space with a unified message, a unified description, and unified education to be able to move this forward. Next slide, please. So these are our proposed next steps and action plan implementation. First, the actual technical mapping. We have a lot of international treaties, a lot of global governance processes out there. What are they? How do they relate to planetary health? And ensuring that we have the knowledge and understanding of these spaces, where these spaces are, and how to engage in them in the first place. This is work that we're hoping to move forward. We're hoping to actually build out cataloging of all of these different treaties, conventions, and analyze them to see how they relate to planetary health and the language that we use and how we can influence that technical language in the first place. Second is our presence amplification. Again, like I said, we have a lot of people in this space. How are we ensuring that you are in these intergovernmental fora, moving these ideas forward, moving these concepts forward, and engaging with the right stakeholders to ensure that we can have influence? And then finally, educational understanding. As has been shared, education is the key to change and the key to moving so much of this forward. And on that, I think it's really, really important to identify that governance is a complex, confusing space. It is important that we learn and understand how to engage in these processes and move this forward so that we have a step up in global governance spaces. We know what we're doing when we get there and exactly how to engage. We're really excited for this section, and to kind of close this out, I actually really wanted to speak to my fellow 20-something-year-olds in the room, my fellow youths that are in this space. I hope you hear me when I say this. Do not ever think that you do not have the knowledge, the expertise, or the capability to engage in global governance. You have a space here, you are educated, you are trained, and we have a community to be able to move this forward. It is important for you to be leaders in this space, not just of tomorrow, but of today. And proof of me on this stage shows that we can engage and we can move global governance forward. I hope that you are encouraged by this. I hope you can move this idea forward, because it is so critical that as the leaders of not just tomorrow, but of today, that we are standing in these spaces, that we have the knowledge to be able to build holistic governance and move planetary health forward. Thank you.
All right, over to the business.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jamila and Marie. Now, the business working group, for many of us, businesses have been a boon onto the life that we have today. Innovations in healthcare, alleviating poverty, giving people an opportunity at upwards mobility in life. But we cannot deny that businesses have also wreaked a lot of havoc on what we see today. Studies have shown that since 1988, 100 companies have contributed to over 70% of industrial greenhouse gas emissions. And in a recent report by the Corporate Climate Responsibility Monitor, of the companies that have pledged net zero, a majority will only achieve 40% out of the 100% target. In other words, a lot more needs to be done amongst businesses. And the richest 1% of humanity, majority of whom are business owners, are responsible for more than 66% of carbon emissions when compared to the poorest. In other words, the business sector has a long way to go and a long way that needs to be done. On that note, I'd also like to acknowledge the Business Working Group members. We have been, while the impact of businesses on climate change and planetary health is huge and large, the Business Working Group has actually been the smallest working group throughout this process. And if you could join me in a round of applause to acknowledge the members who have contributed so much to this. There are two things that the Business Working Group has been working on. First is a guide for businesses, where we have created an acted framework that will enable businesses to get onto that journey to become more planetary health conscious and to take action, and also planetary health indicators. And for that, I've got my wonderful co-conveners with me, Bruce and Margie, who'll be explaining further. Bruce, are you with us? Bruce, are you there?
I am, yes. Daniel, can you hear me okay?
We can see you, your lips moving, but we can't hear you yet. Let's just get the audio up.
Give a second for them to turn the audio on.
Yep, we can hear you. Over to you, Bruce.
Great, thank you very much, Daniel. Very happy to be here. Sorry I can't be there in person. I hope you've all had a fantastic week. I come from a background of over 30 years in business for some of the largest and fastest growing companies in the world, North and South America, Europe, and now Southeast Asia. And I want to talk a little bit about building bridges between the groups here and with business. I think that we cannot turn things around without business. And business absolutely needs planetary health in order to survive and thrive in the future. And so one of the elements of the Sao Paulo Declaration, which really explains this, is saying, look, the long-term survival of these businesses is absolutely dependent on the well-being of society and nature. And I think empathy for the business is really important as we start to hold hands with them, to support them, and to inspire them. I can say from experience that the day-to-day pressure that they are under to become profitable, to grow at 20, 30, 40% every year, they're under pressure from their investors, whether they're private or public, is intense. And too often they have seen all of the information, which has been an enormous amount of information about climate change and the things that they have to do or could do, has been overwhelming and has often been seen as a layer on top of everything else that they have to do. And so it's been seen as almost, well, how do we have time to do this? We're so busy, we're so stressed out just surviving. But I think that there is a different way to approach this. I think they've been looking at things through this traditional economic model. It's really growth at any cost. And it hasn't been central to their thinking. How do we run our business? How do we innovate in a sustainable way? And I think that there is an opportunity here for us to collaborate, no finger pointing, but really just work together to say that, look, where are you going to be as a business? I think the minimum that you have to be is to have zero negative impact on human health and well-being, zero negative impact on nature, on biodiversity, on the oceans, and in fact, perhaps even going further than that, zero impact. There is a huge opportunity to innovate and actually become a leader, become an innovator in this space, and find new businesses, new opportunities, which exist because we're in the middle of a revolution. And I think it's actually a very exciting time and should be an exciting time for businesses. But I think they need help, they need the ammunition to have these discussions internally. That this is not just a peripheral activity. It is not a PR exercise in order to look good. It is not about having token projects that are about sustainability. I think there is an opportunity to just change the way that businesses run, to change the way that they plan, to change the way that they operate. And that is going to be important for them to still be here in 10 years. So we've taken the first step, and this is just the first step. There's a lot more work to happen that needs to happen. And it is the guide, which you can all see as part of the roadmap. And it is to help practitioners talk more effectively with businesses, try and speak the same language, and to find ways that we can inspire them and work together. So it's just the first step. So having given that introduction, I also want to talk about the other major area that the group worked on. Margie Ong had also looked at how can planetary health align with some of those other frameworks, such as ESG. And so at this point, I'd like to hand over to Margie to take us through that. So the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Bruce. That was an excellent intro. And for each of every one of us here, I think one of the reflections of the success of the last 4 days is that you're sitting there and thinking, what can I do? And all of us are in some way or other connected to business. If I could have the next slide, please. Now, we've spoken about business over the last 4 days, and it has been mentioned periodically and over again in many different contexts. And even these statistics have been quoted many a time. All we want to prove with these statistics is that business is a critical stakeholder in our goal of championing planetary health. And I'm sure those of you representing business in the room today actually do agree and are aligned. Then the question is, if you have a huge impact, if business has a huge impact, what should you do? What should they do? We need a clear link from corporate actions to human health. So just to read through some of the statistics, 56% of the global population today, above 15 years old, are employed in a company. Folks in the room, folks outside of the room today, 69 of the richest 100 entities are not countries, but corporations. And more than 40% of global GHG emissions come from listed companies. Now, this goes to show how critical business is in our crusade today. Next slide, please. Now, I stand here today representing the work of the business group, but also 3 individuals that I want to call out, Maisara, Cindy, and Kavita, who have worked really, really hard. Thank you. Who have worked really, really hard, and we've got huge Excel spreadsheets that we'd love to share with you, so do come and join us in the working group, where we are actively trying to map today all our progress in impact measurement and management, IMM, in the world of health indicators and in the world of sustainability and ESG. They have been separated, and as far as we can see, they've not yet been convened into really showcasing, with the action or inaction of corporations today, what is the effect on human health, on every single one of us and every single one of the leaders of the businesses that we're talking about today, and their grandchildren and the future generation. Now the question comes, all right, I'm ready to take action. What do I do? Which is back to Bruce's guide. And how do I measure and how do I manage? So we'd like to introduce an effort for an initiative to set up the Corporate Planetary Health Indicators, or the CPHI, whereby we'd like to publish a set of indicators that do not run far away from global regulatory requirements within the ESG and sustainability space, but more clearly maps that to the impact and the effects on human health. With this, we will be looking to dive into certain topics. Some of those that we've covered with the many Excel spreadsheets of indicators include, for example, the impact of air pollution, emissions, occupational hazards within the workspace, water, waste, energy, biodiversity, and the use of materials from the earth. So today, I think our fellow panelists have been very kind to give you the weekend off, but I'd like to invite you right after we get off stage for each and every one of you to come up to any one of us and say, how can I help? And we'd love to rope you in. I'd love to rope you into this effort as well, because we need all the brains that we can have and all the help that we can need in order to progress this so that corporations can clearly measure and manage their impact. Thank you. Bruce, back to you.
Thank you, Margie. So just to wrap up our call to action, and I'm going to speak to a point that Daniel raised earlier. This is a really critical part of the solution, working hand in hand with business. And we found it surprisingly difficult, actually, to recruit people to this work stream. However, I think that's going to change because we're really just getting going. And so there'll be a lot of outreach and a lot of opportunities to help us. But I'd really like to ask everybody here, what can you do with our help to get out of your comfort zone? I mean, look, I've got out of my comfort zone. I figured after, I enjoyed my time in business, but we're at a tipping point, and I want to dedicate the rest of my life to really working in this area and building these bridges. So how can you get out of your comfort zone and find ways to really work hand in hand with business? And it's not just about influencing the CEOs, it's about influencing all of their leaders, and not just in ESG, not just in CSR. It's about product and engineering and sales. It's all of the people and people in manufacturing. How can we inspire them to bring this to the core of how they innovate, how they think about their business, how they run the business? and to also help them with some of the pressures they are under. I talked about investors, I should also have talked about their employees. There's a lot of upward pressure from employees who are scared of what the future could mean for them. So they have to be considered as part of the human well-being in all of this. So also look at the business guide. Again, this is just our first step. Read through the business guide, it's in the roadmap. We're looking for further feedback on this beyond the initial feedback that we've received. And we're looking to where do we go next? What other channels of engagement should we look at to be successful here? And as I said, to really influence and inspire our colleagues in business. And to embrace these indicators that Margie had talked about. How do we mainstream the use of those and bring together this focus on human and planetary health into the core of a business's operations. So finally, so please join us and bring this action plan to life, and together let's make a real impact. So back to the floor. Thank you very much.
So thank you once again to all the members of the working groups and the leaders up here for really incredible work in developing this roadmap. Now we see this as a means to an end, and it's not an academic script, but we hope information that can support us in developing a forward plan across these 4 areas. Now we cannot and are not trying to finalize this today, but we want to hear your thoughts. We're pleased to announce, though, that there are already organizations that have come up and volunteered to lead on 5 of the 6 areas of work going forward. And as you can see, I hope it's clear, on measuring planetary health, Pacific Disaster Center, Erin and her team will be working with us, the Sunray Center for Planetary Health, to take the leadership in this moving forward. On communicating planetary health, the Sunray Center for Planetary Health and Pacific Disaster Center will again co-lead. On educating for the Great Transition, it will be the Planetary Health Alliance. Thank you, Marie. Governance is still awaiting someone to jump up and say, I want to lead. So don't jump yet. For business, Asli, thank you, Daniel, and Bruce will be the interim leads. On mainstreaming Planetary Health Alliance will also take leadership. Now, why we want to identify them earlier is to make sure that we can just get the work going. Of course, if somebody, comes to say, we want to lead and take over, you're most welcome in those different areas, but we just felt we can't waste time. On Monday, we get going and start getting this forward. Marie.
Thank you. And thank you for that leadership. And absolutely, we want everybody to step forward and take ownership for this. So what we want by the next time we convene in 2025, and a suggested way forward. Again, we are putting out suggestions just to get us going. If people have better ideas for it, we're all ears. So the first is we are looking for action leaders, which Jamila just identified and mentioned, and they will coordinate the work of their groups within the action, with the action contributors. That will include some work plan development. So how do we divide up the labor? What will the outputs and outcomes between now and FAM 2025 look like? And then how do we report out when we get to our next meeting and gathering? The action leaders will also meet regularly to coordinate between themselves on matters of common interest and concern, and establishment of coordination platform with quarterly online meetings. And so that's because, again, we don't want to do all our work in silos. We know we have to go deep in some areas, but we also want to share and make sure that we're working together. Action contributors can sign up to the groups, so that's all of you. Wherever you have interest, and you can join more than one group if you are interested. And so how do you learn more about the plan and also contribute to this? So when we're going to be launching a couple of pages on the Planetary Health Alliance website shortly, and there will be a contact us button and form where you can then sign up to be an action contributor. We also want to highlight and shout out the roles of the regional hubs, because yay, we have regional hubs and we need them, right? We need the voices from around the world. We need everybody's hands on deck. We need to hear from you. And so conversations in the regional hubs are really important and throughout the Planetary Health Alliance membership. And so we really know that there's interest and there's a lot of energy and ideas, so we need to bring that forward. So one of the things that we need to think about is how to mobilize more resources in support of the enhancement of regional hub coordination capacity and how we might go about doing that. And then just resources, resourcing the plan. So it's coordinated planning will be important going forward, and that's something that we're all giving thought to. Next slide, please. So get involved. There we go. So we need everyone in this group and beyond this group to participate in this. And as we mentioned, there's an action plan where you can get involved and also go outside of this community. Bring your friends and family. There are groups to sign up to get involved, and you can see a link here, but also if you go on the Planetary Health Alliance website and stay in touch with this area, you'll see information about the roadmap and how to get involved. There's the regional hubs, which you can join if you're not already a member of them, and then just stay informed by potentially signing up as a Planetary Health Alliance member so to join our greater community, but also that ensures that you'll also be getting our monthly newsletters and so on. So please stay also connected to our social media, both Sunway Center and the Planetary Health Alliance, because we'll be putting out information regularly.
All right. So it's time for discussion. Okay, so the floor is open for those who have questions. I know people are tired, so speak now, or...
But it's not forever hold your peace, because we'll have more opportunities.
Just step up to the microphones,
Yeah.
please. Don't wait. Yeah, great.
Hello. Okay, my name is Dr. Nur Zalifa. We are from the Jungle School Gombak. We've been helping the indigenous people, and Majik Kalam here is also from the Malay tribe. We would like to volunteer ourselves to be part of the action leaders. The reason being, for the indigenous around the world, especially in the Malaysia, we have to outreach them because they are living deep in the jungle. They are very happy in the jungle, but it's not easy for them to counter whatever policy or decision making by the governance, which actually disrupted their sustainable livelihood. So we feel that we should be part of the action leaders as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one? Yes, please. Amjad.
Thank you very much. Amjad Salim from the IFRC. One of the things that we did, some of you may know that just the day before, on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, we had the faith leaders workshop, the role of the faith leaders. And two of the things that came out was a charter, development of a charter for faith leaders and climate change. How do we look at faith and planetary health? And so that will be one of the things that is going to come out very, very quickly to ensure the role of faith and faith organizations and faith communities and planetary health. And the second one, which I think links to some of the communications, is a toolkit for communicating from a faith perspective around planetary health. And so those two things are being developed and will be coming out soon and will be contributing to the overall picture of the work here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amjad. And just to say, of course, I forgot to thank some groups, right? The Faith for Our Planet and Amjad for leading those discussions, and Hugh, who is probably online. So thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, Lavanya from WWF Malaysia. Just to let you know, that we as civil society organizations, also representing the Malaysian CSO SDG Alliance, would like to contribute towards maybe part of the governance process that Tan Sri you mentioned in defining what beyond GDP should look like, and maybe articulating, communicating what are the current issues if we continue just developing progress with GDP.
Thank you, Lavanya, and WWF, and the Malaysian SDG Alliance, CSO Alliance.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Góes from Brazil, and I missed in the who is involved part, I guess really important actors, the artists. Actually, they are mentioned down in the document, in the communication, if I'm not wrong, the visual storytelling and, art and music as, and so I think this should be included. And I'm willing to participate and to collaborate as an artist with you.
Thank you very much. Over there, yeah.
Hi, my name is Cindy. I'm a student, among other things. I'm also a writer, and I think Vanessa's comment actually segues really perfectly into what I was going to say, is that in terms of, I think we've seen at the conference, the power of storytelling and narrative in different forms, including in some of the sessions yesterday. And when we talk about communications, in addition to visual art, I also wanted to uplift the power of poetry, and other forms of storytelling and sort of oral storytelling as well, and would also be interested in sort of collaborating to include those things in the roadmap. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paul.
Hi, thank you. Paul Bungie with Conservation X Labs, and I'm going to make it a question. We are obsessed with using technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship to address the problems of biodiversity loss, which, of course, at their root cause are the same problems driving challenges in human health writ large, which is why planetary health is such a critical frame and approach in our mind. I can see numerous ways that we can contribute by harnessing the power of technology, innovation, and entrepreneurial crowds. I would love to know your thoughts on how we might be able to bring both this approach and these communities into the planetary health movement.
Thank you, Paul. I think technology, innovation are all cross-cutting across every single aspect, every single working group, Paul. So if you agree, the working groups will probably knock their heads together and come back to you and your colleagues to see how technology, organizations like Conservation X or all the other wonderful organizations out there can actually come and support and guide us and advise on how to actually leverage on technology to be able to accelerate the attainment of planetary health. I hope that answers your question. Anybody else?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Hina Shan. I'm from National University of Medical Sciences, Pakistan. We've been involved with Planetary Health Alliance and for this Planetary Health Summit for a very long time now. And one of the case studies from National University of Medical Sciences has been mentioned in the roadmap. We would definitely like to contribute to, to the dissemination of this roadmap and call to action for care. And also I would like to engage as many universities and academic institutions as I can in Pakistan. Congratulations for a very, very well-drafted, very beautiful document, and I hope it serves the purpose it's been drafted for. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Hashim Pati. I'm from Benin, and I am courageously taking the floor on behalf of those who did not feel comfortable enough to talk for the 4 past days. So this is Planetary Health. This is Planetary Health Alliance, and this is a global movement. But we do not all feel part of it. So I've seen that on the, to try to correct that, I've seen that on the action plan, there is a question mark on governance, and I would like to suggest and to ask you if it is possible that instead of an organization, a structured organization, as the one that took the lead for the over 5 points of the roadmaps, instead of being it an organization, is it possible to leave it to those who do not feel included yet? And it's not about me, it's about everyone who would like to join in an inclusive way. That is my advocacy, and we will be very glad to be included in this global process. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a really important point. I'm going to let Anis answer that. I have my own views, but Anis, go ahead. Or Matthew.
Yeah, it's of course not by intention, but I think in the discussion, when we were discussing about this, the government plays an important role to ensure the standard that we need to demand that the government must play a role to come back and get us on track. Governance, after all, is about process, about making sure that there is a form and a standard that we all agree on. And I think civil society can continue to play a role in this virtue, in the context of putting pressure. But somebody has to be responsible. So for us, that's why we start with mapping, understanding what are the regulations, what are the rules, what are the agreement, what are the standards out there in order for us to move forward. Because that particular exercise as an action plan is not just meant for governance, but it's also important for all the other working groups. We need to understand what is there in order for us to improve from the education, from the business perspective. So certainly it's not my intention, but that was what we thought at that time. But if there's any other good ideas, please, by all means, we would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I think what I sorry, who's ringing the bell? I think what's really important is that we have a leader, and I think the voices of those who are not in this room need to be included. That's governance, right? So you need someone to coordinate that. Okay, there are no further, yes?
Hi, my name is Reza from Bangladesh. I'm a newcomer in this moment. Last 4 days, I'm keenly following this. I'm very much motivated. I have 2 comments, not the questions. First comment is that this movement is not competitive to the climate discourse. So make it more clear and more interaction. I feel the alliance should have a very strong communication strategy in the COP29. It means in Azerbaijan. The second comment is that there are a lot of small evidences of alternatives for how to be preserving the naturals, for resources, for sustainability and regeneration. We should have the documentation and propagation of all these alternatives for greater audiences. Thank you for these initiatives.
Thank you, Reza.
I think this builds well from what you just said. It's like, let's not create silos among us. There was not so long ago the One Health Joint Plan of Action that was created. I think there needs to be also some mentioning of how is that linked to that, how it builds on that, or how it adds to that. Personally, having attended this conference on planetary health and being also part of the One Health movement, I see strengths in both. One Health has this historical background and a lot of research that has gone into it. And I think Planetary Health has been able to engage with more diverse stakeholders. So clear messaging on that.
Yep.
And then the final point is we're about to have the end of the negotiations, hopefully, of the pandemic agreement, where we're hoping to have a One Health target. These One Health, Planetary Health is all the same in a good way. So I think, pushing for a One Health target as well within that is something that the Planetary Health movement should be advocating for, I hope.
I think I come back to what I think Erin said in the comms panel. It's about collaboration, not competition. And, I asked Kate Rayworth, who wrote Donut Economics, how do you deal with people throwing stones at you and calling circular economics out and so forth? And she says, these are cousin concepts trying to get to the same place. I think there is a distinct difference between One Health and Planetary Health, but it doesn't mean they cannot be collaborative and work together. So we take your point. Thank you. Now, are there any more hands? Because there are lots of questions on the Slido we need to get to as well. Yeah. Okay. No.
Does that work? Oh, sorry. Hi, thank you very much. George Downward here from the EU Hub. At the EU Hub, we're a large group of mostly academics, and academics tend to get very nervous when talking about collaborating with the business sector, especially in regards to perceived conflicts of interest. So I was wanting to reach out an invitation to the business working group that maybe we could get together and talk a bit about some advice to navigate potential conflicts of interest in the business space, especially as a lot of our universities aren't giving us as much guidance, especially regarding fossil fuels, as we used to get, say, for more dangerous industries. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to do a little bit of a detour. So as the chair of the session with Marie, we're going to do a slight tweak and come back to your important comments first. But someone has a plane to catch. Can I ask you, TJ, to load up the video? No, sorry, not the video. Hang on. This. Yeah. Okay. People have been asking us, when is the next FAM and where will it be? So here's the big reveal.
All right, can we have the next slide, please? So the annual meeting in 2025 will be held at the Erasmus School of Health Policy and Management at Erasmus University in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And I'd like to introduce Chiara, who is our next FAM 2025 coordinator and leader.
Thank you, Dr. Jamila, thank you, Marie. Hi everyone, I'm Chiara Cadeddu, I'm the team chair of Planetary Health and associate professor at the Erasmus School of Health Policy and Management. I'm excited and honored to host the next Planetary Health annual meeting in 2025 in our university, the Erasmus University in Rotterdam, which is moving fast forward towards sustainability in their buildings, in their education. You will, of course, see all of this coming to Rotterdam next year. Our aim will be to continue the extraordinary work done for the roadmap just released for this FAM and make it actionable for planetary health in the best possible transdisciplinary way. We know that transdisciplinarity is really at the core of planetary health and in its definition. We will deal with health, but also with food, with arts, with urban science, with architecture, social movement, we will really go for transdisciplinarity. And you maybe also know that Europe is at the forefront of several green policies and initiatives throughout the European Union, at national level in the different countries and in the different regions and cities across the region. So we hope that you will be engaged, all of you. Finally, last but not least, we will also celebrate together the 10th anniversary of the Planetary Health launch. So I hope you can join us to be part of a dynamic community, gain and give us valuable insights and forge connections that can propel your work and your engagement in planetary health. Thank you very much.
TJ, can you tee up the video? One more. The next one, TJ? It's not farewell yet. Don't leave yet. There is a video of
the city of Rotterdam.
City of Rotterdam. In the meantime, my dear, it gives me great pleasure.
This is a photo op. And the idea here with the passing of the baton is also to ensure that Chiara, you, and Erasmus keep us accountable. So we'll use that roadmap and we'll tell you all about the outcomes when we meet you in Rotterdam.
So let's continue, Marie. Yeah. Can we put back the Slidos and it will just a few more minutes? Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Please.
Hello, thank you and congratulations again for FAM 2025. My name is Janna and this is my first time attending the annual meeting and the first summit, so very happy to be here and meeting incredible, inspiring people, so thank you. My point was for the education working group actually. I noticed that the focus was on value-centered planetary health curriculum, and then there was another point on community and empowerment. I think there could be more of a concerted effort to include action-centered and action-oriented curriculum. As someone who is still a master's student and also working as a community researcher, I find that sometimes there's a disconnect between academia and between problems in the community. And so that would be nice to start incorporating in the curriculum methods to engage with the community and create solutions together. As an example, for example, in my undergraduate degree, there was an opportunity for one of our assignments to actually collaborate with a community partner in which we developed a solution to a local problem. And so our theoretical education that we received was directly translated in our course. We didn't have to wait until after we graduated to create a solution. And so I think there's really a space for education to also incorporate translation from evidence to action, which is the whole theme of this summit. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more from the floor? Okay, we have to hurry it up a little. I'm going to go through some of the Slido questions, and Marie, feel free to answer them, or anyone else. The top question is, how can we prevent burnout among early and mid-career professionals working in the space who may be underpaid and overworked? I think all of us feel this way. It is tough, right? We need to make sure that this is given a priority. We need to be better at raising awareness on the importance of planetary health and ensuring that compensation for hard work. I bet you half of these will be my colleagues telling me, they are going on pure passion, and it's difficult to sustain, particularly when other sectors are calling out for the talents that you have. Marie, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I also think this aspect about we need to include voices of those not able to be here, which also includes ensuring the language that we use isn't just English. And that's something that, yeah, is a big reality. I'm not quite sure how to address all of that, but know that that's been on our mind, whether it's how we make our websites available to be translated into other languages, the São Paulo Declaration, and many of our declarations that are on the Planetary Health Alliance website are actually translated and in several different languages, but of course not all languages. So we're open to ideas and absolutely want to make sure that we become more and more inclusive of all voices.
If I just may add there, when it comes to education resources, we are really trying to be more inclusive as well. As someone who is a non-native English speaker, I can really relate to that. In the spaces, we need to hear many voices in many languages. So I want to invite you to contribute to our education resources with anything that you would have in your language. We already have that. We have Spanish, we have Mandarin. We hope to soon include Arabic resources. So please, if there is something you would like to share, we would be happy to showcase it on our website.
And as Teddy just mentioned, maybe that's something that our technology and AI friends might be able to help with at some point.
Yeah, that's a job for you, Paul.
And you don't have to wait until Monday to start.
Yeah. I think Tatiana, are you here? Tatiana, did you want to announce something on this?
Yes, it was a surprise, but okay. On behalf of the Latin American Hub, we want to announce that we will start the translation of the roadmap for Portuguese and Spanish. So,
great, thank you so much. Okay, Malaysia is that National Development Health, I'm exhausted, National Planetary Health Action Plan. How is this proposed action plan aligned? Now, this is a global plan, and it has to be contextualized. So everyone in this room will go back to the respective countries, and they will take this. And as I said, is a broad overview. It's not going to go into serious detail. We hope the people involved in the National Planetary Health Action Plan are inspired by what they heard, are inspired by the way we have engaged on this, how we've worked with the different groups. And hopefully that will give you, some idea. Of course, for the Malaysians in this room, I think when the broad consultations go out, I think you need to contribute. Mahendra is taking notes. He's the boss, leading us on the SGIE framework. And I think Prof. Asma, I know Prof. Lui was here, and many others from the Academy of Science that are, the technical group leading this forward. they will be able to tell us how you can link. Okay, they've taken all the questions away, so it's time now for us to lead on to the adoption of the Kuala Lumpur Call to Action and the Planetary Health Roadmap. So we're almost near the end. Just again, thank you to all for being here, and especially special thanks to our speakers, moderators, and everyone who's been involved, photographers, and so forth. Just to remind, this has been a consultative process. Oliver has shared with you. We had a LinkedIn group, we had online discussions, and the final version was actually posted on the LinkedIn group on Tuesday. So please join the LinkedIn group. I think it will stay on, and we also have Hilo and the websites to engage with. So in true multilateral kind of way, we would like to adopt this call to action and trust that everyone is in agreement by acclamation. So, thank you very much. Last slide, I think we have a QR code. No, we've done that. So we're going backwards, right? Oh, here we are. That's the video we're looking for. We have the video. Oh, okay, come on, guys.
Dear people, dear people, our Rotterdam is unfinished. Yes, unfinished. It's perfectly imperfect, and it will stay that way forever. The thing is, over here, we love our new ups because we know our downs. We love our new spaces, new worlds, routes, roads, intersections, and connections. They push us to new heights. And meeting new people with new dreams and new imaginations. Innovative, thrilling, sizzling hot, and renewable ideas with new, daring to new deeds. Just to experience the unexperienced. So what will Rotterdam be like tomorrow? Well, I don't know. You tell me. It's in your hands. So you make it happen.
Yes, well, thank you. And Chiara was thinking that was appropriate in terms of you make it happen, that we have to make it happen, and that's our cue for working on the roadmap. Before we move to the next piece, we were asked earlier to just to have 3 people from the audience stand to just say 1 or 2 sentences about what this conference has brought to them, meant to them, what they might have learned. So we have Emmanuel, we have Kent, we have Melvin, and I'd also just like one of the Sunway Center folks to stand and tell us their reflection as well. So Emmanuel, can we just give you the mic? Can we bring a mic to Emmanuel? Oh, there, that's great, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Indeed, 2 years ago, I didn't know about Planetary Health. And I'm glad that I'd had the opportunity to be here. I almost didn't come, but for the past few months, maybe 3 months, I had been contacting people and engaging people online. And for the first time, I would see people who in the last 1 year or within the 2 years that I've been trying to engage Planetary Health, and I'm finding them. 2 years ago, I was going to do a PhD in epidemiology, but when I got to school for the first day in Nagasaki University, and I had the Planetary Health Introduction course, my topic changed from early warning systems to trying to measure how a health institution currently is impacting nature. So in these last few days, I've been able to see the future that is possible with Planetary Health. Thanks to Dr. Jamila for making us close our eyes. And the sessions have been designed in a way that I saw the future. I'm aware of the realities across different sectors, and there's some sort of a protocol or a process to get to do what is possible. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Kent?
Hi. So I went to FAM in 2022 in Boston, and I remember coming back home, and I was telling my partner, I was so giddy. I was like a child. I was like, I've met my people. This is great. She probably hated it after a while because it was all I talked about. And now coming here, the innovation, the purpose, the passion that you all share, that we've heard from our expert panelists, I'm going to go home and do it all over again. So thank you all. And thank you, Dr. Potter. She's my faculty advisor at the University of Minnesota, a leader in planetary health, and some in the Health Innovation Leadership Program. And I think one thing that I've learned from that and from FAM in 2022 and now is that we're all leaders, and we need to take what we've learned here back home, continue with that innovation, continue to push those boundaries. And I don't know if we still have Bruce on, but I was writing it a minute before he said it, but confronting the uncomfortable. We need to be that movement force. And that's what I'm thankful for Dr. Jamila to provide that for us.
Thank you. And Melvin.
Hi everyone, I'm Melvin Otieno. It's really been a pleasure being in this space since 2019 as a campus ambassador, and later became the Planetary Health Eastern Africa Hub regional coordinator, and also been engaged in supporting the campus ambassador across the globe. The 2024 Planetary Health Annual Meeting has given us an opportunity to reunite as passionate change agents, community, friends, and colleagues to move from knowledge to action based on our diverse shared experiences within our community at local, national, regional, and international representation, cutting across diverse disciplines. The time for change is now, and nature is not happy with us. So in the spirit of FAM's theme, from evidence to action, confronting realities, let's make the world a better place. Let's continuously forward through collaboration, integrate planetary health education, disseminate research to the public, communicate, and work with our grassroots and indigenous people. We truly own the future. Generations need us. The future generation really need us. And on behalf of Planetary Health Western Africa Hub and Eastern Africa Hub, we really appreciate these experiences. And also, as part of the Next Generation Network, we really appreciate the whole experience in networking and also getting more contacts from individuals here. This is the best thing that can happen if we continuously focus on engaging our communities in planetary health. I'd like to say thank you so much to the Sunway City for arranging this, and also in collaboration with the other community members. Asanteni sana, thank you very much. Congratulations to you all. Hongera, hongera, hongera.
And the last, I would just like to ask one of the Sunway Center colleagues, I didn't want to call on anyone specifically, whoever has any energy left to stand and tell us. There may not be anyone. No, is there somebody? Nazia, all right. So Nazia, you've been called out. She's...
Okay, so we didn't realize it will take so much energy to organize this, and it will just be done in a few days, and we are still trying to absorb the fact that it's the closing today. So on behalf of everyone, the Sunway Center for Planetary Health, Sunway University, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude for each one of you for coming here and making this a huge success. Thank you once again.
A couple of things. You will see on the screen a QR code for feedback. My late mom used to say, if you like us, tell your friends. If you don't like us, tell us. So this is what we're asking you, because your feedback matters, because not that we're going to organize another FAM, but at least we can share it with Chiara and the folk at Rotterdam or the Erasmus School, because there's a lot of learning, I'm sure. We are not perfect. This has been a steep learning curve for my team, but we really want to hear from you. One more announcement I will make is that Jano, Ham, Eugenia, and Pablo, who curated the cartoon sessions, have been incredible. And I watched them creating it, just sitting behind them, and they're collaborating. Now, many of you have asked us about the cartoons. We will make them available. They have asked you for feedback. You remember about the cartoons itself. So thank you very much, Jano, and we will keep you posted, right? You will hear from us, and we'll tell you. Definitely, we'll put it on the website and get this done for you. So, Marie.
So it is my great honor now to introduce Professor Dr. Elizabeth Lee, Executive Officer, Sunway Education Group, who will provide closing remarks. Professor Lee.
Thank you very much, Marie. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may be so bold, friends, because I have a very strong sense that we have all made many new connections and friendships here since Monday. Thank you all for coming, whether you're here in the hall or joining us online from other parts of the planet. Your presence here, the wisdom and knowledge you have shared, and the impact that your collective presence has had on my country cannot be overstated. Our health minister at the launching was reported in the national news as stating that Malaysia is committed to the achievement of planetary health, and the head of the Malaysian Academy of Science, responsible for leading the elaboration of the National Planetary Health Action Plan, spoke here on Wednesday and left with a renewed sense of purpose, spurred on by your enthusiasm. Real progress simply through strength in numbers, the fact that all of you stayed on till the end. But as Jamila and Marie, aren't they awesome? Can you just give these two ladies a huge clap? Now, don't just applaud them. Remember what they said, that this is all about maintaining momentum. We must hold ourselves to account. We must make progress in real terms between now and the next meeting. On the part of the Sunway Education Group and the Sunway Group at large, especially my chairman, Tan Sri Sir Geoffrey Chia, I want to say loudly and clearly that we are with you. We are committed to planetary health, aren't we now? I see the president of the university and his leadership here in full force as well. We will continue to support the Center for Planetary Health, which will in turn work to invigorate the Asian regional hub, engage vigorously with the Alliance, and play a full role in measuring, communicating, educating on planetary health, building holistic governance, engaging business, and mainstreaming planetary health. We will do this. In fact, we must do this. In closing, thank you, Tan Sri Jamila, and your amazing team. You also see the leaders of our working group assembled here on stage. Thank you to the Alliance for trusting us with this event. We trust that we have not failed you. Thank you to my colleagues in Sunway University for their steadfast commitment and support to planetary health, and the Sunway Center for Planetary Health. I'm sure that you would also want me to give a shout out to all those who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, whether it's the facilities team or registry or the student volunteers who have worked so closely with Our Lady Nazia, whom you heard from, and also the Sunway Center for Planetary Health. And we hope that you have all been well taken care of over the last week. So indeed, a big round of applause to all of them. Now, Amja mentioned the Faith for Planet workshop a few days ago. And I remember that there was a question asked as to what is the one message that the faith community would like to bring to the warmongers out there in the light of planetary health? We were all sent back to think about it, and I did. And my message is, do not use faith to justify your conflicts and reasons for warring. When the planet dies, we all die. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for making PHAM happen. May we wish you a safe journey home, but remember as you go that the real work starts, well, maybe not tonight, Monday. Okay? You make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Elizabeth Lee, Chief Executive Officer of the Sunway Education Group.
This is the last time I'm speaking, I promise. So, in true Jamila fashion, I approached one of my close friends. Murni, are you in this room? Murni is the foreign policy advisor to the Prime Minister. And I've known her since New York, when we were working there together. But she has very, very talented children. So I said, can they write and sing a song for us? And her daughter said to me, Auntie, but I don't understand planetary health. I gave her a folder of documents to read. And being the clever girl that she is, she's so talented, Amni has written us a song. And it is given to all of us, you will be given. And it's called, it's a special song called Turning the Tide, a message of hope, our collective responsibility and action for future generations. Amni is 16. She is from the Nexus International School of Malaysia. And as I said, is a very talented family. Her younger brother, Amar, 14, will be accompanying her on guitar. So as all of you slowly make your way down, we will get our brilliant artists up and dim the lights a little bit. And we will end with this song, but you're most welcome to continue mingling, taking selfies, photographs before we all disperse. Come on, Amni and Amar, are you ready? And while they're coming up, two people who we haven't thanked, who are so critical, our MCs. Dr. Paul, Jess, you have been amazing, really. And you have, been keeping us on time, getting us, going, introducing all the speakers and sessions in such a wonderful way. So please, a huge round of applause for Dr. Paul and Jess. Terima kasih facilities for picking up all the chairs.
One, two. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Amni. This is Amar. We would like to thank all of you, and especially Tansi Jamila, for your confidence in us and for inviting us to this event. We hope that you enjoy this song. It's getting hard to breathe outside, crimson sky and burning air. All I've learned is how to hide my life spent better unaware. Here's the garden that we sow, all the wreckage left to grow. Pile it up as someone else's debt to owe. We've moved mountains with our art, flooded rivers in our wake. Though we flourished in the start, there's something darker we create in the comfort of the past. Take it all and use it fast. How much longer is this living gonna last? 'Cause what's yet to come clings on to all still stuck in the air. We've only just begun. In our peace of mind, when our time left is over, will we leave behind a world still standing proud? Let us all turn the tide for tomorrow. Lead our way to a paradise we found. Seas and forests, wood and coal, we've used the land up till it's bare. After so long in control, say you still know how to care. With much more we can achieve, there's no time left to play naive. Tell me someone in the world can still believe in our peace of mind. When our time left is over, will we leave behind a world still standing proud? Let us all turn the tide for tomorrow. Lead our way to a paradise we found. There's only so much more that we can endure, and us anymore. With everything we've seen, the weathered hope and shattered dreams, we're so much more than just another tragedy. So in our peace of mind, when our time left is over, let us leave behind a world still standing proud, and we'll all turn the tide for tomorrow. Lead our way to a paradise we found. Thank you.